Transportation or the Ministry of Finance before the publication, which it said is capable of causing disaffection and minimize the state's efforts under difficult fiscal circumstances. The Ondo State government says it has provided business-enabling environment to galvanize the economy of the state. The statement, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who spoke in Ibadan at the annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, urged the private sector to cash in on the opportunity and invest in the state. Kuliario has the report.
Annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria of Oyo, Osun, Ondo and Ekiti states held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, attracted big names in the manufacturing sector of Nigeria. Addressing the gathering, the Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu said his administration recognizes the central role the private sector plays as key contributor to the continued expansion and diversification of the economy. Represented by the chairman of the State Microcredit Agency, Mrs. Nike Ademujimi, the governor encouraged members of MAN to take time to understand interventions and economic stimulus provided by government and find ways to participate and create jobs.
It is in light of this appreciation and recognition of this critical sector that our administration in Ondo State has come up with various programs and initiatives to enable the growth and sustainability of the private sector in the economy of the state while promoting citizen participation and empowerment.
He said the door is always open as his administration's intention is to continuously improve on its development programs.
Our door is always open as a government, and our intention is to continually improve on our programs and initiate appropriate and effective reform for local business environments. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my firm belief and fervent hope that with the right economic policies, legal framework coupled with our continued commitment to the industrial best practices and standards, Nigerian industrial breakthrough is inevitable in the shortest possible time.
The governor said in its bid to attract investors to the state, the Ondo State Development and Investment Promotion Agency, ONDIPA, was established to drive investment opportunities to the state. According to him, a good number of companies have been established, with many more at various stages of development. Kunle Ariyo, Osrc News.
The Ondo State House of Assembly has promised its continued support for OSLC Media Group for enhanced capacity and improved productivity. Chairman, House Committee on Information, Mr. Olubenga Omoli, during an oversight visit to the headquarters of the state-owned media outfit, and thanked the lawmakers for their support at all times.
Everything that we have achieved there, whether by way of existing successes, or challenges, or what we are passing through, or what we want to achieve, you are the architect. Because you gave us the finances, you gave us the moral support, and you gave us the supervision. If we are relocating here today, sir, it is the work of your hand.
Mr. Adebayo reassured that the relocation process of the radio arms to the TV complex will be completed by September and called for continued support of the legislature.
Two things we are also going to benefit apart from all I've listed, sir. We are going to have more money freed into the economy. Secondly, the corporate image of the entire organization will be together. So, Mr. Chairman, I think these are the high points that I'm able to put before you. It is our estimation that in the next 2 months, this consolidation process will have been completed. We expect it, in fact, in the next 3 weeks. The process will have been completed.
Chairman of the committee,
Osrc, to tell the people of Ondo State the activities of government.
Other lawmakers stressed the need for proper insurance policy of staff and facilities now that the 3 arms of the media group will be housed at her headquarters. The committee members took time to inspect facilities at the media outfit and the level of work done on the renovation of the television station, as well as level of preparation for the relocation of the radio arms. Omoshiliola Adesoye Ajayi, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, the governor's wife, Mrs. Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu, has commended the management of OSRC Media Group for its people-oriented program. Mrs. Anyanwu Akeredolu, during an interview at OSRC TV complex in Akure, the state capital, commended the standard of the roundtable session. Government House correspondent Omoriola Ubeji reports that the governor's wife also presented Be More Throw Pillow to the OSRC Media Group chairman, Mr. Kunle Adebayo.
The management of OSRC Media Group initiated an interface platform, the Roundtable, to spotlight activities of government and other initiatives geared towards impacting citizens of Ondo State and Nigerians generally. The latest dignitary to feature on the program is the wife of Ondo State Governor, Mrs. Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu, broadening conversation on the impacts of Be More initiative and empowerment program for the girl child. Mrs. Anyanwu Akeredolu said the Roundtable is a unique program with professional mode of questioning. The governor's wife acknowledged efforts of the OSRC Media Group at meeting the information needs of citizens.
This is my first time, and the coverage was good. The questions asked were fine, and I hope I did justice to them.
Mrs. Anyanwu Akeredolu presented throw pillow to the chairman of the media group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo.
This station has been covering Be More. It not start today. It's been long, but what we have now is different. You agree with me that it's different. It goes a long way in also making people know what is happening in the Sunshine State. Thank you so very much. So on behalf of the Lord family, I present this trophy for you.
Sorry. I'm Kunle Adebayo, the Chairman Chief Executive for Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation Media Group. I speak for myself and everything in me and our organization to support the Be More as the foremost program to change the life of our girls to be total girls. I support it with all my heart. I support it with all my soul. I support it with everything, Lord. We will be your partner. Yes. And we will support it until we get to the end, which is the greatest success Be More will achieve.
Wow. Thank you.
The Roundtable is a current affairs program of OSRC Media Group, which has as its core mandate bringing leaders closer to the people through uncensored interface via the free channels of the group. Omoriola Ubeji, OSRC News.
In the meantime, the federal government has declared that the striking public university lecturers for the 5 months they have been on strike to serve as dictators. The Minister of Education, Adamu, at the weekly ministerial press briefing in Abuja, said government has refused to give in to the demand by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, for their members to be paid the backlog of salaries withheld over the ongoing strike. The minister also stated that the 5 of the university-based unions will likely convene a committee whose work negotiation committee whose work spanned a total of 5.5 years as a demonstration of good faith. He said the move to set aside the principle of collective bargaining, which was globally in practice, had the potential of damaging lecturer psyche and destroying commitment to the university system. You're watching the news at 7. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll serve you more stories. Don't go away. Welcome back from that break. You can watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. Now moving ahead, the President's administration in Ondo State says it will continue to pursue long-standing partnership and engagements with a view to delivering better and sustainable development. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, gave the assurance while receiving the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Values in his office. OSRC reporter Zimo Ebiemi was there, and the report is being presented from our studio.
The Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers aims to establish a high and reputable standard of professional conduct and practice in landed profession throughout Nigeria. In general, the professional organization, set up in 1969, caters for the interest of the landed profession in Nigeria. The president of the institution, Mr. Jumbo Amayavo, who led other members of the institution to the office of the commissioner, called for the inclusion of estate management into secondary schools' curriculum.
I was with the Vice Chancellor of Ahmad University yesterday at NIO, and I was happy to hear from him that they have already, the Senate have approved the establishment of the Department in DB, and that they have even sent it to LUC for approval. So, if there are higher institutions in the state that are yet to have that department, we crave your indulgence to use your good office to help us, because the more we have in all these high institutions, the better for Nigeria as a country, and particularly the state.
Responding, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Femi Agagu, assured the institution of government's collaboration to move the profession forward, urging them to key into the administration's efforts at fast-tracking infrastructural development.
It's a big honor that you find time to visit me in the office, and I'm very excited. In the area of collaboration, of course, as a valuable member of the profession, I will always be very willing to be supportive of the activities of the institution in every way that the institution will require my services. But as a member, I'm prepared to serve in any of the committees, and as a government official, in whatever area that the profession and the government can work together beneficially, I will always be willing to play my own role there.
Mr. Femi Agagu, who is also a member of the institution, called on practicing estate surveyors and valuers to support the government in order to optimize benefits in the real estate sector.
On the other hand, staff of the Ondo State Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development have been called upon to give their best to improve productivity and achieve the vision of the present administration in the area of fiscal planning. Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, Amidu Takuro, during an interactive session with staff of the ministry, said it is expedient they work to achieve the redeemed agenda of the state government. He also appreciated Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for the confidence reposed in him to serve the state. The public have been urged not to throw caution to the winds during this cold weather. The current weather condition seems to have varying effects on human health, with the elderly and children most vulnerable. Joy Pius takes a look at health management for old and young under a cold season.
Rainy season often comes with a high level of humidity, resulting to low temperature, thereby increasing coldness of the weather, particularly on cloudy days. During this period, the human body is faced with various challenges occasioned by the wet season, some of which affect the health of children and the elderly.
When your temperature is down like that, you have common cold. And then bacteria also comes in, because your lungs, our lungs, where we breathe in and out, these are the areas where germs tend to gather because of the cold weather.
lower respiratory tract infections, pneumonia, bronchopneumonia, bronchiolitis, and co, and so on and so forth. It's very common in children now. And quite a number of our admissions that we have in the hospital now tends to stem from the problems with this weather, especially the cold weather, the extreme coldness of this weather. Then also in adults too, we have people that tend to have problems with their respiratory tracts, cough, catarrh, which is very common. The upper respiratory tracts also including sinusitis, sinus infections, which is very common at this time too. And then that tend to have allergies to cold and cold. They tend to have problems at this particular time of the year.
Children and the aged at this period are most vulnerable to cold, hence the need to be cautious.
The weather is so cold. Even in the night, I have to keep myself. As I'm now, I'm with the 3 o'clock with the sweater with cap, so that I will be able to be warm, to warm myself.
So tutu yẹn pọ̀ gan láàárọ̀ kùtù téèyàn bá kọ́ jí tó ṣílẹ̀kùn tó bọ́ síta tutu yẹn á fẹ́ wọ̀nyàn lára. So màá padà sínú ilé, màá po tíì gbígbóná màá mú. Then mi ìdẹ̀ ṣíra sílẹ̀. Then àwọn ọmọ náà mo make sure pé wọ́n wọ sweater, socks, nǹkan èmi gan wọ socks.
As an adult, we are managing because it's not easy for us. But with the use of drugs and other things, we are just managing it.
Kò sí béèyàn náà ṣe lè ṣe tó náà. Atẹ́gùn yẹn ṣì máa fẹ́ sí wọn.
What measures could be medically taken to get the body immune to conditions attached to cold weather and to suppress its effects on general health?
Catarrh, cough, and chest infection. These are very common things that occur during the cold weather. And if you want to prevent it, the best thing is that we have to put on good clothes. Wear underwear, wear maybe sweater, and make sure we keep our bodies warm.
Food should be warm, our clothing should be warm, cardigans, they are all over the place where we can purchase and we can get for our children. Also for adults too, the same thing. We are able to make sure that we take all things most of the time. Keep our room warm.
Weather indicators in the last few weeks have put the temperature in most parts of Ondo State between 21 degrees Celsius and 29 degrees Celsius, a pointer to the coldness being experienced. To stay healthy, therefore, there is need for proper protection against the chilly weather. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
A civil rights organization under the aegis of Connected Development has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to review its voting hours to avoid disenfranchisement of more than 30 million eligible registered voters in the 2023 election. The organization said the demand became necessary after its observations of the just concluded Kenya election. The Director, Democracy and Governance in Code, Emmanuel Njoku, said Kenya used the same bimodal voter accreditation system device and also transmitted their results electronically, just like Nigeria, and that the process was particularly the same, while the only difference is in the number. Njoku said Kenya voter register with just 22.1 million opens as early as 6 a.m. and achieved a voter turnout of 65%, while Nigeria, with higher voters pool, opened for just 6 hours with a voter register of 95 million people. Hence, the call for a review. The Lagos State government has extended the ban on commercial motorcycles to 4 more council areas. Transportation Commissioner Frederick Oladende said the move followed a review of the impact of the similar ban in 6 local government areas. The affected council areas are LCDAS include Koshofe Local Government, Oshodi Isolo Local Government, Shomolu Local Government, and Mushin Local Government. The Commissioner assured Lagosians that the government has put measures in place to cushion the impact of the most recent ban on motorcycle operations in the commercial city, reiterating that the move is in best interest of residents. The Jigawa State government has ordered the closure of all public primary and secondary schools over fear of attacks. Commissioner for Education, Lawal Yunusa, said the decision was taken based on an intelligence report that states, especially with international borders, are prone to attacks. He said to avoid any surprise, schools were ordered to close down since most of them have concluded their examinations. Temporary respite has come for a singer accused of blasphemy as the Court of Appeal in Kano has ordered a retrial of the death sentence handed to him. 24-year-old Yahya Sharif Aminu was handed down a death sentence by a Sharia's court in Kano in 2020 after he was found guilty of committing blasphemy in a song. The ruling had drawn widespread condemnation among Nigerians. In the Court of Appeal session, the court dismissed the death sentence but denied the musician bail and ordered his retrial before another Sharia's court judge. Now, on the foreign scene, scientists are warning that the ongoing drought in Europe could be worse in 500 years. The wildfires seen in southern parts of the continent are still devastating large areas. But extreme rainfall is also causing chaos as parched land cannot absorb the water in some areas, leading to more flooding. Omoremi Ugmola reports.
Firefighters retreating bravely in southeastern Spain. They are trying to stop the flames from reaching houses in the Valdez area near Valencia. The huge fire began when lightning struck at the weekend, fueled by strong winds. It has forced hundreds of people from their homes. So far this year, Spain has had almost 400 wildfires, and they have already destroyed more than 3 times the area consumed by flames in 2021. They have been fueled by heat waves and drought conditions that scientists attribute to climate change. In Germany, the drought means you can see so-called hunger stones at various sections of the River Rhine. Centuries ago, they were placed on dry river beds and marked to warn future generations that exposure could signal famine. Over in France, the country's longest river, the Loire, looks like this. A record drought has caused the river flow to a trickle, meaning in places people can almost walk from one shore to the other side.
Eh ben moi ça m'attriste. Ça m'attriste parce que je suis née dans le village.
It makes me sad because I grew up here and I've never seen it like that. Before we could go to the waterholes over there with the children and fish.
Scientists are warning that low river levels across France are a sign that cannot be ignored.
Le changement climatique est en cours, c'est indéniable.
Climate change is underway, it's undeniable, and that compels us to rethink our rules for sharing water resources. We must understand that we're all affected. Water is a common good, and every one of us will have to rethink our behavior.
Where the rain has finally arrived, like here in Paris, it is badly needed, but Europe is having to get used to heavier downpours. Travelers on the metro had to contend with flooded stations. Meteo France reported that 1 month's worth of rain fell in the space of an hour.
If I just smash the back window.
And the skies also opened in London, where parts of the UK capital experiencing flash flooding. Thunderstorms are expected in England and Wales, and with the dry soil almost impenetrable in areas people had been warned to watch out for further flooding. Omoremi Ogumola, OSRC News.
And with that package, we have come to the end of the news at 7. But before we go, let's take a quick look at the top stories. The Ondo State government has faulted budget's claim on salary default, saying it is committed to its workers' welfare. We also told you that the governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has rallied the private sector to accelerate the economic development of Ondo State. A civil rights organization under the aegis of Connected Development has called for the review of voting hours ahead of the 2023 general elections. And from the foreign scene, fires and droughts have caused chaos in Europe as scientists have predicted more extreme weather in coming days. And that's it on the news at 7. Thank you for watching. Good evening.
Go.
ṣé ti yàtọ̀ tó bá fẹ́ ra fóònù tó dára máa bọ̀ ní Tony Blaze ó ti yá náà. Tony Blaze. Tony Blaze. níbi kára fóònù káta fóònù síbi tẹ́ US tí Tony Blaze Ventures ò mọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Android phones, iPhones, body phones tuntun tó great. Tony Blaze kì í ta gbọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀yọ́ fóònù. ẹ̀yin alára tó tà. ó ṣe tí Tony Blaze ń tà lówó ẹ̀rọ rojú. kò wọ́n rárá. iye tí wọ́n ń tà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ló máa bá dé wò fowó lé. ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ rà lára tó tà ẹ máa bọ̀. ẹ̀wá kọjá ní kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí. Easybuy tó wà o. kẹ́ ẹ gba fóònù lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ máa sanwó ẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ fóṣù mẹ́fà. Phone accessories ó pọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wọn. wọ́n rè bí a fóònù wọ́n tún ṣe swap. ìwọ tó bá ní fóònù àlòkù sílé. wá sí Tony Blaze Ventures kó wá fi gba tuntun yanran. fíà. olùléṣẹ́ wọn wà ní 174 Àràkálẹ̀ road lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ UBA bank Àkúrẹ́. ọkọ̀ tó wà ní 73B ìdójúkọ Arówólò bookshop Ọ̀bádẹ́jìlá road Àkúrẹ́. wọ́n tó wà ní shop 13 second floor Olúkẹ́yọ̀dé shopping complex Àkúrẹ́. ẹ̀ka àwọn Ládó Èkìtì wà ní shop K8 Fáyọ̀sí market Adó Èkìtì nílùú Kánò number 15 Nerit road Kánò. telephone 08035249552. máa bọ̀ wá jọlá fóònù gidi ní Tony Blaze Ventures.
lónìí ló pọ́dún kan gbáko sangele abaṣọ fẹ́lẹ́lẹ́ gbé màmá wa Mrs. Akínkọ̀yè Dọ́kà Sọmọládé lọ sọ́run rere dídùn ní ìrántí olódodo ìbùkún sì ní fáwọn òkú tó kú ní Olúwa ojoojúmọ́ ni àwọn ọmọ tẹbí tarátọ̀rẹ́ àtọ́júlùmọ̀ ń ṣèrántí yín màmá wa Dr. and Dickiness Akínpẹ̀lúmi Akínkọ̀yè ní títí láé la ó máa ṣèrántí yín ìyá rere barrister Mrs. Bọ̀dé Akínkọ̀yè ń dúpẹ́ fún ẹ̀kọ́ ìwà rere tí ẹ fẹsẹ̀ wálé nígbà yẹn yín tọkọtaya Bánkọ́lé Akínkọ̀yè àti Reverend Canon and Mrs. Àbáyọ̀mí Ògúnṣùsì sọ pé ìyá bíi màmá Dọ́kà Sọmọládé Akínkọ̀yè ṣọ̀wọ́n láwùjọ tọkọtaya Bímbọ́lá Akínkọ̀yè àti elder and pastor barrister Mrs. Ọládìméjì Fásànyà ní ojú tí ẹ fi ń ṣọ́ wa kí ẹ má ṣe fi sùn lọ́rùn òye ọmọ. àwa ń fi àsìkò ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹbí ará àti ojúlùmọ̀ pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn tó dúró tì wá lásìkò ìsìnkú màmá wa ọmọ rere àgbẹ̀yìn gbogbo wa o àmín.
mo là ní o ọ̀ṣọ̀ṣọ̀ nínú ìbí ẹ̀ aya yadiyala aya lépègùn aya múdàgbà ayọ̀ aya líkànga àkúnlẹ̀ pọ̀ ọmọ tàkúnmọ̀sá ọmọ olú ọmọnùsọ mo là ní o.
Reverend Canon Yomi àti aya wọn arábìnrin Tóyìn Ògúnṣùsì olùkéde.
Motorcycle, though one of the easiest means of transportation for decades now, has been identified as a channel through which insecurity have crept into the country. The use of motorcycle have resulted to series of road accidents on urban and rural roads, armed robbery cases, kidnapping, abduction, and other